Hey guys, T-Bull here. Today I'm going to take a look at the NASA for its upcoming Tier 3 reward ship for the Wicked Waves. It's free for everyone who completes the campaign. It's not behind the Admiralty backing. I did want to take a brief look at Hyde for you though. He looks to be fairly interesting. So he's got brawling perks and accuracy perks, so could come up with some interesting builds. He is a battleship commander for Germany. So I'm not going to go too deep into the build here, but I thought I'd give... This one's new. This is interesting. Kind of changes up the ricochet angles with the shells. And I'm just going to give you a quick look at this here. So that's behind the Admiralty backing. There's 8 additional promotion orders, 1 additional insignia, 1 additional commendation, and then Hyde is kind of the main rewards that catch my interest behind the Admiralty backing. I'll give you a quick look at the Nassau as well. Interesting, you do have 4 available mods. Artillery plotting room is up until this point really only been available to, I believe, the Iowa, which cuts down the dispersion quite a bit. So I think the Nassau, from what I understand, is a fairly inaccurate ship to begin with, but that could increase the accuracy quite a bit. So I'll spec out the ship before I take it out of the port, but I did want to give you a quick rundown. And it does come with the camo. So here's a look at the ship by itself. Pretty cool looking ship, but then if you want to put on the camo, it comes with the camo equipped. Now, I just want to point out that you can take it off because I think a lot of purists like to play without the, goofy Howling skins, if that's what you want to look at it like. But this is an interesting looking ship as well. So we'll take it out for a spin, see how it rolls. Alright, so I've tried the ship out with both CILIA and Von Hipper. If you're using the artillery plotting room, which I would recommend, Von Hipper makes it an extremely accurate ship. Using CILIA with that mod makes it pretty accurate, as we'll see in this game. You do get the extra heal, or if you have CILIA Max, you get 2 extra heals. So, your options are pretty open with this one. I'm probably thinking CILIA would be better, just because it's accurate enough so you're not getting the main drawback with him. But we do have a domination mode game on Archipelago here. Now this ship has 283 caliber guns, which is the smallest caliber at Tier 3. Keep that in mind. I think it seems like it helps. I'm not getting a lot of overpens on cruisers. Battleships, if you're close range, you can shoot waterline. If you're a little bit further away, I'd probably shoot top half of the hull. Traverse is really slow, keep that in mind. It's 51.4 without any commander influence. Fire chance low, 19%, which is the lowest at the tier. HE damage, lowest at the tier. AP damage, lowest at the tier. Very good speed, 23 knots. Turn radius, incredible, 510. And rudder shift, 11.2. And good detectability, too, 11.5. So really good in those, the second half stats if you're looking through your, ship stats. But I've been pretty impressed with the ship so far. I think it's pretty strong for Tier 3. We're able to rip that Phoenix for quite a heavy hit there. So running CILIA with the Brawler perks, you get the reload on this is really nice. I mean, base reload 22.2, which again is very fast to begin with. Start adding in the CILIA Brawler or the Hyde Brawler if you get Hyde. Hyde, by the way, just looking at him briefly, it looks to be extremely strong. You can get the durability of CILIA with the accuracy of Hipper. There's a lot of different combinations, so I don't want to go ahead and say CILIA is obsolete, but he's pretty close. I mean, the AP damage trait is still potentially quite useful, but you can spec out secondary builds, brawler builds, and still have a functional main gun. So the Admiral I'll be backing, I think, is going to be definitely worth it for this little mini campaign, just to get hide in your German battleships. Omaha turns around, and we're not. I wasn't sure if he was going to hit that island or not, so I kind of aimed back half of the ship. I think we could have potentially finished him off with that salvo, but that's all right. We already got 24k damage in the opening move. Now here the Nassau is broadside to us, and we take a shot. It appears to be heavily armored. It says 13 to 400. What that means, who knows? You know, without an armor view, we don't know what's 400, but just in the 3-4 games I've seen these out there with, I mean, some of them have had NASA, some of them haven't, but shooting at these ships, we'll take some shots later in the match. Seems to be quite a durable ship, though. Now, keep in mind, the guns I'm firing at this is quite low caliber, but, you know, who knows how it would stack up against Orion, for instance, or, you know, even the Congo, New York, when you're bottom tier games. So Omaha here, we're going to attempt to finish him off. He's kind of angling around that island. We predict that and put him in the bottom of the sea. And we're down quite a bit in ships. We've got a 2-ship deficit. They are putting pressure on the second capture point for them, so they're going to be up in both ships and capture zones, but that doesn't mean we're going to give up. Now the Phoenix was going along in a straight island. Did drop from detection, did kind of take a blind shot, but he gone nonetheless. So, you know, just because you drop undetected doesn't mean you don't need to still be playing defensively, kind of altering your course, stuff like that. Because players that are aware of, you know, how to aim blind fire shots like that can still take you out. Now here the Congo, I mean, kind of an angled shot there. Congo, not a heavily armored ship, so we're able to punch through some damage. But again, you're going to be noticing I'm going to be aiming up a little bit on some of these battleships, and we're able to score some pretty decent shots as this goes on. Now here's the XC. I mean, this is a CILIA, so like a Von Hipper there probably would have scored a couple more shots. I'm not saying CILIA with the artillery plotting room is, you know, laser focus, but it's pretty accurate, as you'll see throughout this game. Accurate enough that cutting down the reload, getting that extra heal. The secondaries do get a bit of a boost with the Porcupine, if that's how you even spec out. Secondaries are pretty decent. I mean, they're long range for tier 3. I forgot to note how far they start going off, but I think I can't remember in this replay if they start going off or not. I think they do toward the end. Congo turns here, and we're able to score another nice chunk shot on him there. Now, this is kind of the range where you can start thinking about a waterline shot. We're going to try one here just to see it out. And again, notice the very quick reload. I mean, it cycles quickly even with Von Hipper or Deutsche Dewey if you're stuck with him. But, you know, I really like CILIA running the Nassau here. And see, angling our ships. We're bouncing quite a lot of shots here. We have used one heal, but we're nearly full health this stage in the game. Now our team's getting absolutely clobbered. We got 3 ships left. We do have a kamikaze left, though. And as you'll see here, he has an outstanding game, beating up on these baby seals. Shame on you, kamikaze. But we're trying to get this Congo here eliminated, just kind of blasting. Now the guns, you're never going to get more than 4 guns on each side firing, but you can kind of flip back and forth because the 2 dedicated guns on each side will still kind of track where you're aiming. So moving from side to side is not that detrimental. You can actually, especially with the quick rudder shift and the nice maneuverability characteristics of the ship, you can kind of go side to side, you know, flip back and forth, take shots. If that's how you want to play it, I mean, that's certainly an option here. Now we do have the destroyer, which usually that's going to be my priority target. Just a little further away, and I'm fine with him kind of chasing me. I'm almost kind of trying to get him in the secondary range just to test this out. This is one of my early games on the ship, so still testing out some things, but if he's going to continue to pursue us, we're going to start shooting at him as well. Now, with the quick reload here, switching to HE against destroyers is, you know, preferable and easily accomplished, so not optimally playing against this destroyer here, but it's not a huge concern. As long as I'm moving away from him, he's not really a torp threat, so I'm content to, you know, just kind of take my time here. But yeah, overall with the Nassau, I've been fairly impressed with the ship. I'm not ready to give it the Tier 3 crown over the Arkansas yet. I have to play some more games with it. But in terms of accuracy, I mean, very nice for Tier 3. Like I said, I mean, CILIA has no accuracy buff, so what you're seeing here is the same accuracy as you're going to get with Deutsche Dewey. Sheer is how he's more commonly known, but so I mean, here the Clemson's continuing to pursue us, and now the secondaries are going off, so you can kind of get a good feel for what range they're at. Now, I did bump up CILIA to level 12 to get the third level of Porcupine, so these are pretty accurate secondaries. I mean, keep that in mind. This is not exactly, you know, stock secondaries, but the Kamikaze comes in and blasts him, which removes kind of a pest. And now here we're going to be taking some shots against some of these angled Nassaus, and you'll see after, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 volleys, just kind of testing out the armor, testing out the guns further on my own ship, we will end up switching to HE. And again, HE damage really low, fire chance really low, so I'm not inclined to run a lot of HE on the ship. But you'll I mean, just taking a look at the results we're getting here now, the low accuracy, I mean the relatively low accuracy is coming into play. We're missing a lot of these shells, but I'm trying to get, you know, shots more up into the superstructure, testing the nose out, trying to just test different things out. Now that we do finally get HE, then he decides to turn here, which is kind of annoying. We do draw fire, and then the Kamikaze comes in and gets torp strikes. And now I'm thinking to myself, alright, there's anytime a fellow player gets a torp strike, you gotta just kind of assume that they've caused a flood. If you're playing a division or you're on the comms and you have access to them, you can verify that. But if you're just playing mic-less, you know, solo, just kind of mentally assume that they've caused a flood, the player damage con. And now, even if he was at a decent firing angle, switching to AP or HE would be a good play, because if I can hit the shots, cause a fire, then that's kind of a permanent 1-minute fire that he can't really do much about. Now I am kind of missing some of the shots. I think that was just kind of poorly aimed right there. I'm not going to blame the ship's accuracy for that one, but that's kind of the idea. So if I can get a fire here and he gives me something to shoot at, then I think switching over to AP there to cause maximum damage is kind of the way to go, because once you get that fire going, that's one source of damage. Then you switch over to AP, get another source of damage. That's really crippling for players to play against. So you always want to be keeping an eye on the enemy's damage con. It's a lot easier to do if you cause the fire or you cause the flood, just because, you know, it's more readily accessible to your knowledge. But using that awareness of what your teammates are doing, keeping an eye out for torp strikes especially, because you're not guaranteed that they caused the flood and you're not guaranteed that they threw out a damage con, but it's likely. And so now you see we do have a fire that was sticking there, and we do switch over to AP. Again, aimed up top half of that ship and just punched him for a 10k salvo there. So very hard hitting for a tier 3 battleship like this. Now we're just going to cycle in here, and at this point I think I noticed I got 3 kills. Maybe I can get the crack in. So stole the kill there. Shame on me. No, I'm kidding. And again, this Nassau well angled. But what I'm attempting to do is just kind of swing wide here. We're all kind of bunched up, or me and the other ship at least. We're kind of presenting the same firing angle. But again, all these torps that the Kamikaze's launching forces them to kind of make a turn, and I was attempting to get a side shot in there for the Kraken, but alas, we didn't get it. But, you know, that's the game. So I do like the Nassau quite a bit. I've just played a handful of games, but I think it's a nice reward ship, and it is free, so keep that in mind. So if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Questions for me, leave below, and we'll see you guys all later. All right, peace.